to my YouTube channel, #MovieBabe. I am MovieBabe, and in this video, I'm going to be recapping and reviewing episodes 6 and 7 of College Hill Celebrity Edition. But before I get too into it though, go ahead and drop down and hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for all the content that I drop. As y'all know, I review College Hill as well as all the Queen's Men, also on BET+. I review PValley, and if you like ratchet shows, I review Baddies on Zeus as well. I also just dropped my Nope review and explanation video, so be sure y'all subscribe and check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and get into episode 6. All right, so it's the next day, and Ray J has left to go back home to take care of his family business. Now, Dream decides that she's going to skip class because the professor gave her a B. Baby girl, that is not hurting the professor. That is only hurting you, all right? So African American Studies, the professor tells them that their final is going to be performing an original poem at open mic night, okay? And it is going to be due the next class day. So India is asking, if I don't do this poem, how will it affect my grade? Will I fail if I don't do it? Ma'am, just do the damn poem. I hate when students be trying to leverage okay, well, what if I don't do this particular assignment? Is it gonna fail me? Why would you want to even get a 0? Why would you want to get a 0? But this is the final, so it's gonna hold more weight regardless. So you gonna want to do that final, Miss India Love. Slim says that he is also intimidated by writing an original poem for open mic night. I'm a little perplexed because in this episode, Dream, Slim, they're rappers. How the hell are you intimidated about rapping? Songs, lyrics, that's poetry. I'm confused. What's the intimidation? But anyhow, so aside from Slim and Dream being intimidated, the professor decides that she wants to talk to India privately, especially because she's trying to get out of doing this assignment. So, we all talk, India talks about her fear of public speaking, and that is the most common fear of people in general. The first fear is public speaking. So don't dwell too much on it. What I tell people is, and I think I said this in one of my other review videos, when you're public speaking, just talk to the person in which the message is intended. So if you're in school, talk to the professor. I mean, you're looking at everybody, but 9 times out of 10, the professor is the only person listening. So do not be afraid of public speaking. All right, I mean, that's coming from a comm major, but still, I get nervous too. So Dream decides that she's going to come to class, but she's late. And she decides to speak to the professor about her B and how she starts crying, talking about that she's ready to go home. Because you got a B? Look, I'm a perfectionist. I finished school with a 4.0 semester-wise. Long story. But I had nothing but A's when I went back to college. If I was to get a B, would I be upset? Yeah. But would I want to quit and drop out of school? No. What the I'm just oh my gosh, the dramatics, girl, get a grip. It's not like you failed. That was just really OD to me and super childish. But the professor is so nice, and she says that she understands, and instead of quitting, she encourages Dream to just go all out on this final. That way it'll bring your overall grade up even higher. So you might finish with an A after all. All right, so they go ahead and go to Intro to Law, and they are practicing their mock trial. Lamar is opening and India is closing, but India starts to feel overwhelmed before she even starts talking. Y'all know India and her little public speaking fear, right? So the professor wants India to be confident, and India says that she will feel confident and she understood the lingo in the assignment at hand. And her and the professor kind of go back and forth with trying to explain why you should be confident, and India is explaining why she's not confident. Now, in this instance, I completely understand both sides, because the professor is saying if you fake the funk, it will stink. Okay? And India is if I knew what I was talking about, then I would be confident. So I completely understand both sides. I honestly don't know how to break her out of that. But so close to the final. At this point, if you don't understand the case now, you probably won't. So probably faking the funk, just talking like you know what you're talking about, would be more convincing than just breaking down and crying because you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm only saying that because it's so close to the presentation day. So Nene and India, the professor takes initiative and asks Nene if she is comfortable closing and giving India a smaller role. Okay, so Nene accepts. So it is the next day, and it is time for the open mic poetry final. It's going to be held at a coffee bar entitled Mo Better Brews. And when I tell y'all that is so clever, that is so clever. So India talks about how she doesn't want to be first. And guess what, y'all? She's called first. Her poem is entitled Note to Self, and it's about living life in the fast lane, comparing yourself to others, and having regrets. Nene is also dreading speaking in front of everybody, but her poem is entitled Last 6 Months, and it's about her and processing losing Greg. Slim, I'm sorry, y'all. Slim's poem is entitled Nothing Going to Stop Me, and he talks about a variety of things, but more specifically, it's about working so much and missing out on life in his relation of being a father. Frida talks about New Orleans, all the problems in Lamar's is about Kobe Bryant and Dream. Hold on, before we even get to Dream, the profanity. Starting with Slim and Lamar, and they just cursing so hard. They saying bitches and shit, and I'm like, this, yes, it's a poem. Yes, you're supposed to express yourself, but this is still, school is your job. This is a professional setting. Profanity, no. Unless you are literally quoting a quote that has profanity in it, no. I remember when I was writing a paper and the quote, I was going to get a quote from an article or whatever, and it had a curse word in it. I legit emailed my professor asking, is it okay that I use this quote that says the word damn in it? And then she okayed it. But it's like, you just can't be cussing willy-nilly. You can't be talking about bitches and hoes and shit like that. Like, you can't do that. Like, be professional. So some class. All right. So it's time for Dream to go. But she decides to go to the restroom. And I don't know why everybody acting so shy. Especially the rappers, the performers. This is what you do for a living. So I'm a little bit confused by that. But she comes back on stage and she leaves again. And then comes back on stage and leaves again. Like, it was a whole thing with Dream. But she finally gets on stage. Her poem is entitled Note to My Younger Self. And I want to talk about a couple of things in her poem. Because to be honest, they showed clips of everybody else's, but they showed Dreams in full. And she talks about how, while you are at home, follow your mom's rules. She talked about being in an abusive relationship, teen pregnancy, and having an abortion. And then she talks about her past by making bad decisions, where she went from mugshots to now she's on the cover of magazines. So I really like Dream's poem. It was deep. I feel like a lot of young girls, especially, can relate and should listen to that. So Dream, my advice to you is to turn into an actual song, because sis, that shit was powerful. So Ray J is not there, obviously, but they FaceTime him so he can recite his poem and not get a failing grade. So his poem is entitled State versus Father, and it's about cutting family ties by a piece of paper, basically child support or visitation and things like that, how the court system can hinder family structures or whatever. It was a really good poem. So the next day, it's time for the actual mock trial, but Ray J still hasn't made it back. Frida and Slim, on the way to school, find out that Ray J is on social media introducing Kodak Black to Donald Trump. And Frida is pissed because she thought that Ray J went home to be with family, but instead he's out frolicking, making the shade room. So that's how that episode goes off. If you are enjoying my review and recap thus far, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, okay? And stay tuned for all the commentary on all the shows. I'm telling y'all. Let's go ahead and get into episode 7. All All right, so Slim gives opening arguments for the state, and he gets the dates wrong. He gets the defendant's name wrong. So Frida, when she does her opening arguments, she calls him out on all of that. All right, so Frida and Dream are killing it, but it's definitely Frida. Okay, she's like hitting all the points. She's discrediting witnesses, everything. And Nene is getting upset, so she's objecting to everything. Her and the judge go back and forth a little bit, and I'm like, Nene, if the judge says it's overruled, like, don't banter too much or you're gonna be held in contempt, okay? So it's time for the closing arguments, and Nene tries to save the state's argument because she said Slim just did horrible. He questioned their star witness and only gave them 2 questions. So she's like trying to make up for what Slim dropped the ball on. Then it's time for, oh, my bad. And then at that time, Ray J comes in. Ray J came in. He was all out of dress code. So the judge called a recess so he can go get dressed and come back in, right? So now Frida decides, instead of Ray J doing the closing argument like he was supposed to, she's going to do the closing argument because she doesn't trust that he's prepared. He came to class with his grill in his mouth. Like, come on, y'all. So Ray J is talking while Frida's giving her closing arguments. And I'm just like, shh, like, be quiet. Like, we understand you mad, but you interrupting. Like, I hate when people be talking and while other people talking. I just don't like that. So he talking to Dream, and Dream is like, she probably didn't trust you to do your closing argument because you came late. She didn't even think you were going to be here and stuff like that. So I would have just been telling Ray J, shut the hell up. Like, shut up. And the judge is like side-eyeing Ray J, hoping that he shuts the hell up before she has to remove him from the courtroom. But she has to remove him from the courtroom because he would not stop talking. So the end verdict was the police officer was found not guilty of second-degree murder. However, they were found guilty of, I think, negligence homicide. So, yeah, they kind of both win in a way. Both sides kind of win in a way. So after the trial, Frida asked Ray J about why he was at Trump House instead of being at school. And then Ray J just gives this long-ass story with all these excuses. I think Frida said in total about 6 excuses in 15 seconds. And basically, we can just all see, like, Ray J ain't really taking this seriously for real. And Ray J talks about how he regrets coming back because he feels like everybody's against him. His classmates don't think that he's reliable. The judge kicked him out of class. So Ray J really wants to talk to a therapist. And I actually like that he was like, I need a therapist. I love that. Out of everything Ray J has said and done on this show to get on my damn nerves, I love the fact when he was like, I need a therapist. Because he's like, I need somebody to talk to right now. And I really hope they provided him with one, or he called his, or whatever. So, the cast goes somewhere. I think they were like in the library of TSU, and they run into Darian. I think he was from ATL season of College Hill, and he has his own black-owned skincare line. I think he says the most successful black-owned skincare line. Forgot the name of it, sorry. And he just basically asked the cast about their journey, you know, what was their goal coming here and how they're doing with that. So then we get a clip of Lamar being with the basketball team as they prepare to play against the illustrious Prairie View A&M University in Prairie View, Texas. That is my alma mater, okay? And then in that whole clip, we basically find out why basketball is so important to Lamar. And he talks about how he either wants to start coaching or go back to the league. And Ray J was looking like, why the hell would you go back to the league? Like, Ray J does give him the idea, like, you know what, maybe you should aim to try to own a basketball team. How about that? And Lamar likes the way that sounds. So it's game day, TSU versus PV, and that is a rival game. Like Lamar says, we are each other's biggest rivals because we're both in the same, like, 45-minute distance. And then PV and Graham. So yeah, it's game day, and Ray J decides he wants to bring his study material to the game. Instead of studying at the house, instead of studying on the plane, he decides to bring his study materials to the basketball game. So Dream takes his book so he can enjoy the time to relax, because she was basically like, you should have been done that, period. I'm not going to tell y'all who won the game because they didn't tell y'all who won the game. When they get back home, Dream drops a bomb in Ray J's ear and lets him know that it's been worse that, you know, going around that you plagiarized your poem. And Ray J gives this whole spiel about why he plagiarized, and he felt that the message of that poem was more important than the poem that he wrote. Here's my input on that. Everybody gets inspired. So if you really enjoyed the poem that your friend wrote, if you really enjoyed that message, if you knew that it was a great message to get across, that you wanted to get across, that you wanted people to hear, you could have wrote something inspired by that poem, because everybody gets inspired. So take the concept, take the idea, and relate it back to what you personally are going through, because your assignment was an original poem, sir. Like, all that could have been avoided, because if you plagiarize, you get put out of school. Yeah, okay. So it's the next day and everybody's getting ready for school. Ray J talks about Lamar because he's wearing sweatpants and cowboy boots, which, you know, it's the sweatpants. Like, if you put on some Wranglers or something, like, you'll be fine, Lamar. I'm not opposed to it. Dream is not going to class because she chipped her tooth last night. I want to know how that happened. But they have their final meeting with their advisors, and they get their grades for Introduction into Criminal Justice. Frida gets an A. Slim's biology grade is finally in because he had to do a makeup test. He gets an A+ in biology, and he gets an A in law. Now, Nene and Frida are looking at Slim like, how the hell did you get an A when you got the date wrong? You got the defendant's name wrong. You didn't question well. And then Frida sums it up by saying, the judge is from Texas, Slim is from Texas. And the judge has a crush on Slim, which is why she gave him an A. I agree. I feel like Slim should have gotten an A- or a B+, but he definitely did drop the ball on. He didn't have like good arguments from what I saw. So India gets a B, Nene gets a B, Lamar gets a B-. That is his first B, so he's doing better in school. And then Ray J, of course, gets a D because he wasn't there. He wasn't there, and he didn't get the opportunity to present because Frida was like, no, sir. So Ray J gets a call to Dr. Benson's office. And that is where, you know, she talks about his performance in the class, in the program overall, how he's missed a lot of class. He's missed field trips, discussions, poetry events. And then she asked him about the poem. Now, Ray J admits to reciting a poem. He kept saying that. He was like, well, I decided to recite this poem, or I chose this poem. He never said that he wrote the poem. So he's choosing his words wisely. But here's the thing. The professor not stupid, because you were supposed to write an original poem. So because you plagiarized, she said it took her 2 minutes to search it up on YouTube. Because you plagiarized, it goes against the syllabus, and it goes against the code of conduct of the school. He has been suspended until further notice, as this situation has been sent to the board of advisors. So next week, we're going to get to see the board meeting with Ray J. Slim and Frida are battling for valedictorian spots. And I believe it looked like TSU is having their Spring Fest because Frida's going to be performing and things like that. All right. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Be sure y'all hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for next week's episode. Like this video if you enjoyed my commentary, and leave a comment section down below. Is Ray J going to get suspended? I think he is, and I think he should be suspended because Ray J ain't put in not nan effort since literally the first episode of the season. Like, if you don't do the work, you don't get the grade, and you shouldn't get any type of leeway just because you're a celebrity or people feel sorry for you. No, you got to put in the work, period. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.